In a time where everyone is talking about Fernando Mendoza, there's a different college quarterback who's been labeled a perfect fit for the New York Jets, and we got to break down exactly who this guy is, why it's a perfect fit, his strengths and weaknesses. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Jets Football 365. If you're a New York Jets fan, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a ton. But getting into the video for today, coming from NFLmocks.com, while the Jets historically have not been the greatest situations for young quarterbacks, the confidence and overall talent of Dante Moore from Oregon, should prove to be the difference if he has the right playmakers around him and a solid offensive line. With his maturity, accuracy, and mobility, Moore could be the answer to the New York Jets quarterback dreams. Moore is a third-year sophomore with some impressive traits. His accuracy has been solid all season, and he shows good touch on his deep ball. Moore can throw from different arm angles with precision and delivers strikes while rolling either left or right out of the pocket. He can scramble too. Moore started 5 games at UCLA in 2023 before sitting behind in 2024, so he only has 14 career starts to date. Moore is still developing and will be only 20 years old at draft time, but the toolbox is loaded and he plays with true command of the Ducks offense. I see a lot of confidence in Moore's game. Nothing ever seems to faze him. So, for whatever reason, they left out the name Dillon Gabriel. That's who he was stuck behind. So he started as a highly recruited guy, 5-star recruit, played at UCLA, sat a year behind Dillon Gabriel at Oregon, and now Dante Moore, the Oregon Ducks quarterback, is commanding the number 7 team in the country, the Oregon Ducks. He is a fantastic quarterback. It's not just Fernando Mendoza in college coming out. Dante Moore is another prospect who's projected to be drafted in the top 5 of the NFL draft should he decide to come out of school. Now, what Dante Moore does really, really well, let's find out. Coming from his pros from NFLDraftBuzz.com, quick release mechanics help him get the ball out rapidly, minimizing sack opportunities against aggressive pass rushers. So Dante Moore, when he's throwing the football, every quarterback, so it's not even just Dante Moore, but every quarterback, they have their release time. And Aaron Rodgers is a quarterback who has been lauded for having an extremely fast release time, and Dante Moore kind of has something like that. So some quarterbacks like Drew Breece or Cam Newton, when they want to throw the ball, they cock it all the way back and they have a long release time. But Dante Moore just has to flick his wrist and it gets the football out a whole lot faster, and it helps NFL offenses, or really any offenses, minimize sacks taken because there's not as much time that the defense has to rush the quarterback if he's getting the football out faster. And it gives Dante Moore a quarter of a second longer, but just a tiny bit longer to assess what he is looking at when it comes to the defense. And in NFL quick time plays, that quarter second could be the difference between fumbling the football or getting an incomplete pass. Like if you get one of those fumble or incomplete pass situations where they're like, was the arm moving forwards, yes or no? That quicker release can be the difference between the incompletion or the fumble. On to his next pro. Pocket presence improved significantly during his year learning behind Gabriel, showing better feel for pressure and sliding within the pocket. So I always talk about how when you're a quarterback sitting back in the pocket, you want to move up and down on a straight line. So you want to drop back and drop straight back. And then when pressure starts to mount, you want to step up into the pocket. You want to do this because when you step up into the pocket, you give your offensive lineman the best chance to block the guys that they're up against. Because if you drop too far back, then the defensive linemen do not have to go through the offensive lineman. They can just go around them. But if you got to hold the ball a little bit longer and they start to get past the offensive lineman, when you step back up into the pocket, they now have to go through the offensive lineman again, which is why the pocket is designed to protect you inside the pocket. That's why you don't want to roll out too early, and you want to make sure that you are moving straight forwards and straight back. What is great about this bullet point is it shows that Dante Moore is improving on a year-to-year basis. There are too many quarterbacks that they come into school as a freshman as a 5-star guy, and they're lauded as the truth, the greatest thing ever, and then he's a junior and you're like, he's kind of still the same player. He still struggles with doing the same things that he struggled with when he first got to campus, but that's not Dante Moore. He is learning He learned under Dillon Gabriel, who was an extremely experienced quarterback, played at Oklahoma, played at UCF before coming to Oregon. And I also like the fact that he was mature enough to understand that he had to learn, and he was willing to try to fight another quarterback to go for a starting role instead of just going to the transfer portal and running away for somewhere that he knew he was going to be a guaranteed start. So I do like some of the mental makeup that comes with this young player. Ball placement on intermediate route demonstrates precision, particularly when working the middle of the field against zone coverage. Now, we always talk about how quarterbacks have to throw the football with touch, but what does that actually mean? Throwing the ball with touch is meanings that you can throw the ball into specific pockets, and it's pretty much, you have to, I don't want to say loop, but you have to throw the ball with the proper amount of arc on it. And you want to be able to arc it over shallow defenders, but then still have the ball come down soon enough to hit your receiver before he reaches a deeper defender, like a deep safety. So just imagine, we got a guy out in front of us, but there's a linebacker in front of him and a safety like way behind him. You have to throw it over the linebacker, but then still hit your receiver. You can't put it all the way over his head. That's what a touch throw is. You throw it with the proper amount of touch to be able to get it up and then have it come back down in the proper area of the field that you are looking for. Now, this is something that can be taught at the NFL level, but it's better if you have a quarterback coming out who already knows how to throw a football with touch on it. Ball placement on intermediate routes demonstrates precision, particularly when working the middle of the field against zone coverage. We talked about that. Mental processing speed allows him to identify coverages pre-snap and adjust protection calls with increasing confidence and command. There are too many quarterbacks who in college football, when they let the coaches on the sideline handle absolutely everything, and it doesn't help them when they get to the NFL level. So if you're ever watching college football and you watch the quarterback, he'll say, ready, hut, and then he stops, turns to the sideline, and the rest of the offense turns to the sideline with them, and they look dumb. They look stupid waiting for the coaches on the sideline to tell them what to do, instead of what the more experienced quarterbacks can do in college, which is they call their own protections themselves and understand how to audible themselves. They understand how to read a defense and audible themselves into a more beneficial play for the offense. So there are too many quarterbacks that the sideline handles that for them. You want a quarterback that already knows how to do that at the college level, so you don't have to teach him when he gets to the NFL level, because at the NFL level, your coaches are not handling that for you. You as a quarterback have to be a fast enough processor to be able to figure all that stuff out on the fly. You got to be able to step up to the line, read the defense, know whether or not you got to can the play to get to your second play that you have called, or figure out exactly, get a good idea of who's going to be open on that play before you have even snapped the football. But now let's get into the negatives for Dante Moore here. Decision-making under pressure still showing concerning tendencies, especially when his first read gets covered and he's forced to work through progression. So not quite there yet when it comes to reading full defenses. That makes sense. Oregon's offense is set up to be a little bit gimmicky. It's set up to kind of coddle the quarterback where you don't have to make full field reads, which is pretty common for college offenses, but is not at all how NFL offenses work. That's going to be something that he has to work on. And the thing about him getting worse decision-making under pressure, that's something that every quarterback since the dawn of time struggles with. But even if he struggles more with that, the New York Jets have a really good offensive line. With first-round picks Armand Membo and Olu Fashanu, we are the right spot for a quarterback who struggles with being under pressure, because we are going to protect for whoever our next quarterback is at a high level. So that's just another reason why we can mitigate this weakness of Dante Moore, making him a better fit for us than he would be for a team with a worse offensive line like the Cleveland Browns. Rushing ability grades poorly, offering minimal threat as a design runner and limiting offensive coordinator creativity in red zone packages. Now, historically, your quarterback not being a running threat hasn't been a problem, but as we are moving towards the modern NFL, running from the quarterback position is becoming a bigger and bigger and bigger part of what offenses are built around. And we know specifically Aaron Glenn wants a running quarterback. So if Dante Moore is not going to be a threat to run, that's something that Aaron Glenn is not going to like, but it's not the end of the world. If you're an elite passer and if you're a great quarterback at reading defenses, getting guys open and throwing the ball at a high level, no one's going to care if you can't run. You just can't be a statue in the pocket. You got to be a guy who's going to be able to get away from a single pass rusher should they be able to break through our offensive line. frame and build suggests that he may struggle absorbing punishment from NFL caliber pass rushers throughout a full professional season. So a couple things here. NFL season, 18 weeks long plus playoffs. College football season, only about 12 weeks long plus playoffs. You got multiple bye weeks in college. The players are smaller in college, so there's more time to rest, and the hits aren't as big in college. The smaller players, when they get to the NFL, you are opening yourself up to more injuries because you're playing more, getting hit more. Dante Moore needs to put more weight on to make sure he is able to absorb those hits. And the final con here we have is short passing accuracy remains inconsistent, particularly on quick slants and bubble screens where timing and precision are paramount. Now, we've talked about on some of his pros that his timing and precision and touch with medium range throws is pretty good. So this is just going to be something that he can get better with reps, just repping it out, getting more. I don't want to say the word reps again, but this is something you just got to drill. Throw more slants at practice. Throw more bubble screens at practice. Throw all these short routes. And if you're able to throw those medium routes and deep routes at a high level, the short stuff is definitely going to come. It's just going to be how much time is he willing to put in to hone in on his craft, and he should be able to get that thing worked out. That's not a con that I have any fears about when it comes to Dante Moore, as we got Justin Fields on the screen for some reason. But that's what I got for this video. If you stuck around this long, appreciate you taking your time to watch the video all the way through. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and go Jets.